She won't let you. I am home.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today we're back at it with another standard deck tech straight out of early access for Magic the Gathering's Edge of Eternity's expansion. And this deck is looking pretty wild. We dove in deep on an idea that was presented to me by someone in chat during our live stream, during early access, and it ended up being absolutely nuts. This is called Infinite Void. It is a mono black sacrifice deck, but it's kind of an aggro deck, but it's kind of a control deck, and it's kind of just a value engine deck. It's kind of a lot of things just jammed into one, but it's definitely primarily sacrifice, and most notably, we have some pretty crazy combos in this deck that can actually just kill our opponent outright, just automatically. We could just automatically kill them if we get the right cards onto the battlefield at the same time. We can basically do an infinite amount of damage and potentially even gain an infinite amount of life. Really, really crazy things happening here, and like I said, I definitely want to explore some of these concepts in future decks and evolve it for sure. But even just this deck during early access was kind of nuts. Before we break it down and then get into the gameplay, please like the video. It does help the video get out to so many more people. It helps the channel grow, and it matters so much to me. You guys that are the real ones that have been liking every video, thank you so much. You have no idea how much it helps. So if that's you, let me know in a comment. If that's not you, hit the like button. Do me a favor. It takes 2 seconds and it means the world to me. Also, subscribe if you're new because we have tons of crazy deck techs on the way. In fact, launch day for Edge of Eternities officially starts tomorrow at the time of the filming of this intro. So I hope you join me for launch day. We're going to do a 12-hour marathon stream. We're going to start with some limited. We're going to do some crazy standard deck techs, deck brews in the latter half of the stream. And we're going to get some crazy deck techs dropping from launch day and beyond. I can't wait. Join me for that. That's happening over on Twitch at twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn. If I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Now let's break down this deck. Alright, so this deck's pretty wild. This was originally a submission from someone in my Twitch chat, and once I tried it, I kind of became hooked, and I'm possibly going to be looking to expand upon these ideas and go even deeper and evolve this deck tech in the future, but even just this version is looking kind of wild. So the idea here is we're kind of a sacrifice deck, except we're housing a bunch of different combos under the same deck that can kind of just win outright. So first of all, we have Umbral Zealot, a 2-mana 3/2 human cleric that allows you to sacrifice other creatures or artifacts to surveil one. The most important part of this card is simply that it's a sacrifice outlet for free, doesn't require any mana whatsoever. So if you set up the right board state where you can just get a ton of value off of sacrificing things, this thing can just go off and snowball into oblivion. We can set that up with Timeline Culler, a 2-mana 2/2 haste Drix Warlock that warps out for just 1 black and paying 2 life, which is a little bit tricky sometimes to navigate. But what's great about this card is you may cast it from your graveyard using its warp ability. So the idea is you warp it in for 1, you swing in, you sacrifice it afterwards, and then you can just keep warping it from the graveyard over and over and over. It's going to cost you 2 life every single time, but essentially for every 1 mana that you pay, you're going to get a creature entering the battlefield, and you're going to get sacrifice fodder that you can then sacrifice and rinse and repeat for pretty much ever. You can also just keep bringing this back, swinging in with haste, and then letting it go to exile, replaying it from exile, swinging in with haste. So it is like a constant clock on your opponent that just keeps smashing in, and they can't really get rid of it forever unless they have exile. And sometimes we can just win being aggressive in that way, but usually we're trying to get to some kind of a combo. And how do we get value off this thing dying over and over and over again for just 1 mana? We're playing Susurian Voidborn, a 3-mana 2/2 that can warp in for just 1 mana if we want to use it a little bit earlier in the game. But whenever this creature or another creature or artifact you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So we keep bringing back the Timeline Culler. Every single time we warp it, it costs us 2 life, but then every time we sacrifice it, we drain them for 1 and gain 1 of those lives back. So essentially, it works out to paying 1 mana, they lose a life, you lose a life. So for every mana that you pay, they lose a life, you gain a life, or no, they lose a life and you lose a life as well, because you're gaining 1 of the lives back from the 2 life that you lost, essentially, is how it works out. So it ends up being really, really cool. You can just do this over and over and over and just reduce both players' life totals down to almost nothing. But if you have a second Susurian Voidborn out, that's when it gets really crazy, because every time you sack, you gain the 2 life back that you used to play it. So basically, for every 1 mana you spend, they just lose 2. Over and over and over, and it can be pretty nuts. And you can even get to attack in before you sacrifice as well, and you get a bunch of surveils, which potentially gets you even more value in the graveyard, maybe puts a Timeline Culler in there, maybe sets up the top of your deck for a key play. Another really cool combo in this deck is Perigee Beckoner, a 4/5 creature horror for 1 black and 4, although we're very rarely going to actually hardcast this. It warps out for 1 black and 1, and when this creature enters until end of turn, another target creature you control gets +2/+0, and gains when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So the idea here is, as long as you have 1 Perigee Beckoner on the battlefield already, if you can get a second one, you warp it in, you give the first one this ability that it comes back when it dies, and then you sacrifice it. So when you sacrifice it, you get your sacrifice payoffs. You maybe get to surveil one to the Umbral Caller Zealot. You may be drained with the Susurian Voidborn, but either way, the Perigee Beckoner comes right back, and its enter the battlefield ability triggers, and you put the ability on the other Perigee Beckoner, the second one you played that originally gave this one the ability. So now you get to sacrifice that second one, and rinse and repeat. Every time you sacrifice a Perigee Beckoner, you give the other one the ability to come back, and they just keep bringing each other back over and over and over, and you can just basically create an infinite loop where you can sacrifice things an infinite amount of times. So as long as you have the Susurian Voidborn out, you can just drain your opponent out to nothing, without spending any mana pretty much whatsoever once you have the combo set up, which is really, really crazy. So being able to get like either of these combos going in the same deck is really, really cool. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to continue to explore this concept and really trying to dive deep into getting value out of these combinations and out of Sacrifice. I think Sacrifice is primed for a very good standard after rotation, and I'm pretty excited about it. The rest of the deck is pretty obvious. We're running a lot of Sacrifice payoffs and enablers. We've got 4 Corrupted Conviction to draw cards. We've got 2 Embrace Oblivion, which allows us to sack something to destroy a creature or spacecraft. We've got 4 Infestation Sages as sacrifice fodder. We've got 4 Tragic Trajectory, which for 1 mana will give something -2/-2, but if we warp something, or if something leaves the battlefield first, it turns on the Void ability, and we give something -10/-10 instead, which can be absolutely nutty in this deck, killing a huge threat for only 1 mana, while we're just doing our thing anyway. Seems pretty awesome. We've also got 2 copies of Depressurize, 2 mana for an instant, gives a creature -3/-0 until end of turn, and if that creature's power is 0 or less, you just destroy it. This is useful in a bunch of different ways. Obviously, it just kills anything that has 3 power or less just straight up. So sometimes, if your opponent has a creature with a really big toughness and not a really big power, you can kill something that maybe you wouldn't be able to kill with, you know, something comparable that was doing direct damage, like a shock or a lightning strike or something like that, which is just really, really awesome. We've also got 2 copies of Hymn of the Faller, a 2 mana sorcery. You surveil 1, draw a card, lose a life, but if you've triggered Void, which this deck's going to be doing pretty much every turn, then you get to draw an additional card. So 2 mana and 1 life to surveil 1 and draw 2 is really, really good if you can make it consistent. And because this deck is centered around constantly sacrificing things and warping things, you can make it super consistent. Moving on to the 3-drop slots, we've got 2 Phyrexian Arena just for a little bit of card draw. We've got 2 Requiem Monolith, which is really interesting. You can use this as a way to draw cards off your sack fodder, but you can also use this on your opponent in some situations, and I don't think any of those situations really popped up in our games that we played initially, but there is just the silver lining value of potentially being able to do something like that. So you tap this artifact, and until end of turn, target creature gains whenever this creature is dealt damage. You draw that many cards and lose that much life. That creature's controller may have this artifact deal 1 damage to it, activate only as a sorcery. So no matter what, you can tap this, do a damage to one of your creatures, draw a card and lose a life, and then if more damage is done to one of your creatures, you're going to draw even more cards and lose even more life. And if that damage isn't enough to kill it, you get to keep the creature and maybe just do it again next turn. But if it is enough to kill it, maybe it's like a Timeline Culler or something and it dies. We have synergies in here where it doesn't matter, like the Timeline Culler can just come back from the graveyard with the warp abilities. So there's some really cool things you can do for drawing cards with Requiem Monolith. You can also just target your opponent's creature and force them to draw cards and lose life, potentially, if they're close to dead, which is really, really interesting. If you target one of their blockers and then swing with everything, now they might be in a position where, like, if they let the thing through, they die. But if they block it, their blocker's going to take damage, they're going to draw, lose a bunch of life, and still die. Almost like your creature's unblocked. So it's a really interesting card that can double as card draw on your side, but also potentially be a win condition against your opponent, which is just really interesting. I can't wait to explore different ways of trying to take advantage of this card in the future, because I feel like there's a lot of potential, and it's going to be really hard to figure out exactly where that potential lies. Next up, we've got 2 copies of 0-point Ballad, 1 black and X, destroy all creatures with toughness X or less, you lose X life. If X is 6 or more, return a creature card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. What's cool about this card is it can grab a creature that is your opponent's. Something that you kill of your opponent's with the 0-point Ballad, you can just steal with it. So I think this card is going to be super useful in the future in, like, pure control decks where you can just steal a win condition from your opponent. It is worth pointing out, though, that you have to pay X life. So in order to get X to be 6 or more, you're losing at least 6 life in order to wipe the board and bring back a big creature. And sometimes that's going to be pretty tricky, which makes me think that maybe this card has more of a home in some kind of a life gain deck. Either way, it's a nice use here. We do have ways to gain life with stuff like the Susurian Voidborn, so sometimes this can just kind of come out of nowhere, wipe the field when we need it to really badly, or maybe even just steal a win condition from the opponent, which can be really cool. And then the last card, in addition to the 18 swamps, because this is a mono black deck, we have 3 copies of Susur Secundi Void Altar, a land with the station ability, enters tapped, taps for black mana. We can pay 2, tap it, pay 2 life, sacrifice any creature to draw cards equal to that creature's power. We can only use this as a sorcery, so we can't use it as like a combat trick or anything like that, but because this entire deck is sort of built around sacrifice, it's really easy to just get this stationed up with things that have summoning sickness that we're just going to sacrifice anyway, so it doesn't really matter if we tap them, and then eventually get it to 12 plus and just start drawing cards every turn while triggering all of our sacrifice payoffs. So I think this deck is really cool. Like I said, I think it's trying to do a lot of different things at the same time, and I want to try to deep dive and build off some of these concepts in future brews. But at least for early access, I think this deck was pretty nuts, and it did some pretty crazy things. So let's check out the game. Yeah, we're not going to keep this. We don't have anything to sacrifice. This is much better. We probably put back the 0-point Ballad. I think we just want to get Susur Secundi out and drop the Zealot on turn 2. Yeah, fair enough, Ray. Alright, so we're going to start with the Umbral Caller Zealot. Orange, welcome to the stream. I would very much like to hang out with you. I miss you. I want to play Wonders with you. I've got a box of Final Fantasy I want to draft with you. Can we make that happen? Alright, so now we're going to try to dig for the combo, or a combo. There's a bunch of different ones. He doesn't know what to get rid of. He's going to have to take Embrace Oblivion, right? No, he doesn't. That's kind of weird. I guess we just do this. And we swing. Play the Infestation Sage. End the turn? Surveillance would have been good? What do you mean? Did I do something wrong, Mommy? Because, like, the warping the Perigee Beckoner seems like kind of a waste. We don't really have any way to draw cards. We could surveil, but, like... I mean, we can still do it. I guess maybe... Sweet. Alright, I can't do it yet. So... We'll do like, warp this. Timeline Culler. And then we'll swing. And then we'll sack the Timeline Culler. Drain one. Corrupted Conviction. That seems good. We'll replay the Timeline Culler. Cancel. Let's station with the Timeline Culler. Let's also station with the Voidborn since it's going to go away. And then we'll sack the Timeline Culler again. Drain again. I guess we're not going to block with this, so let's station the Umbral Collar Zealot and then end the turn. That makes sense, right? I think we did that all right. We definitely didn't want to swing with the Zealot and risk losing it. We make sure we've got card draw on top, which is going to be good to, like, keep the snowball rolling. He's got 𝐁𝐄. Alright, we'll go my turn. Well, the problem is I would really like the Voidborn out. And unfortunately, we don't really have an opportunity to do that. Put a Timeline Culler. think we're just going to try to be as aggressive as possible. Without putting the Zealot at risk. We've still got the card draw for next turn. We need to get to 4 so we can get the Voidburn out there and still play the Timeline Culler. Like, maybe we even should have taken a turn off to just get the Voidborn out there and then get to the next turn. But he's losing a lot of life over there, so I don't think he can afford to really keep up with us very much. I'm not even sure why he brought back the Timeline Culler, to be completely honest. Seems kind of weird. Got an 8-3. Which is pretty sick. Do we just need to get the Voidborn out there? Let's go like... He's got an 8-3. Probably just want to find an answer, right? To the 8-3. Or maybe we just get the Voidborn out there and call it a day. Problem is you need to tap this and 2 other mana to use it. So it would use all of our mana to draw cards. We can't really do that facing down an 8-3. So I think we're going to swing for 1. Corrupted Conviction, the token, so we have more mana left over for a potential answer. And that did not work so well. We do have the double Beckoner, but now we can't get the Voidburn out. I guess we probably just play another Umbral Caller Zealot, so that even if he has an answer to one of our blockers, he still can't effectively swing in with the Dark Confidant. My worries is the Dark Confidant is going to get us to 4 if he had removed our 1 blocker. And knowing that he's got a somewhat sacrificey deck as well, it's possible he could have something in his hand that gets that last 4 out pretty quickly. So we definitely got to play it safe. Definitely got to play it safe. Unequaled Brood, a cool Ragos weapons manufacturing deck. He's excited to try. Yeah, I've been trying to theory craft one of those. I actually have one in the Discord that I'm calling Black Market. I want to try to make it 4 color to also use the Cruel guy. Do we sack it? No. Because we can easily kill that guy, I think. And get our thing back. It's down to 5. If we had more Aristocrats triggers outside of the Voidborn, we could have done a lot more. If we had the guy that only cost 2 instead of 3, we could have had him out and still done something else. We We are so close. We are so close to where we need to be. Let me think. It's so close. I think we just got to do this. I think we just got to do that and pass. Because if he swings, we can double block the All Fate Stalker. He's going to lose 2 and go to 1. And we're going to get back our other Umbral Caller Zealot. Then we could Timeline Culler and swing, potentially. Plus, we're also set up for the combo if he doesn't swing. If we top deck a land, we just win. We just do the Perigee Beckoner thing. In fact, even without that, we just keep bringing the Timeline Culler back, right? We keep draining. He has to swing with the Fortress because he has to gain some life. That's fine. Really? You sure you want to do that? He's got some balls, I'll give him that. Oh no! Okay. I see what you're doing. Goes to 4. We have to chump. He goes to 3. But I think we might have him with the Timeline Culler. Timeline Culler. Use the map token. And now we've got 3 damage. And screw it, we'll do another Timeline Culler just for good measure. Swing. Let's go. Oh boy. Alright, this looks interesting. We're gonna give it a try. Let's keep. We'll start with Secundi. Obviously, these types of lands are going to work way better in monocolor decks. Because the more colors you start to use, the more you're going to need other dual lands that are coming into play tapped, most likely. So we got a nesting bot. We definitely don't want to kill the nesting bot. I think I want to get out the Zealot. I'm worried because I probably should have stationed, huh? Yeah, I probably should have stationed. Although he can't swing with the nesting bot if I have the Umbral Caller Zealot out, so at least there's that. Only 2 mana. It's kind of a bummer. I guess we got to do it like this. Station with the Infestation Sage. Corrupted Conviction. We need to find a land. Another Okay. Well, that's something, I guess. Do I swing? No, because he's just gonna do the thing anyway. I'm just gonna station up with all my stuff. Station is gonna be a very nuanced mechanic that I don't think people are gonna fully understand the nuance of right away. A lot of people think it's worse than it actually is. You just have to find the right play lines around it. Voice of Victory. Another Infestation Sage. Sure. Let's see. We do have 3 land now. Which means him is probably pretty easy. We need to kill Voice of Victory. Let me think. We're going to station with this dude. And then we're going to sack the token. To turn on Void. And then we're going to Hymn of the Faller. So that we can draw some cards. We're going to play another land. And now we've got Tragic Trajectory turned on. So we kill the Voice. And then we play the Infestation Sage. And then we do some more stationing. Like, sure, we're not getting in for damage. But we're going to turn on Cesar Secundi pretty soon. We're going to be drawing so many cards. See, I could warp, I could do that. That's probably the way to go. I'm not really seeing the combo that you're talking about. I think we want to warp in this, station with it. Now we've got a ton, right? And then we go, dude, I don't even know. I guess we attack. Play Corrupted Conviction on the Sage. I was thinking about warping this dude in. Play another land. Oh, so we want to save the 2 Beckoners to play at the same time? Well, yeah, I do what I see when I don't know what the long-term game plan is, Foozy, obviously. How am I supposed to not do what I see and wait to do something that I don't know what it is? Doesn't make any sense. I I guess what we probably want to do then is just depressurize the Blood Witch and hold up Corrupted Conviction. I can draw 6. How can I draw 6? Oh, with the Susur. I mean, I think I just let him through. Raise the past. Well, that's not good, is it? Probably should have blocked and then sacked Corrupted Conviction. Alright, I can't because of voice. So, 6 mana, 2/2. We can't play the Voidborn is the problem, right? So if we warp them both out, we've only got 2 mana left. I guess we could draw some cards. I guess it's still worth it, right? Let's just try doing it. So we'll warp this, target you. We'll warp this, target you. We'll do this, because we might as well. And then we'll Corrupted Conviction this guy. He comes back and targets him. And then I think we got it. We warp out the Voidborn. And then we just go like this. And then we just do it infinite. Right? Is that what we're doing? Yeah, we did it. We did it. This looks pretty good. We'll keep this. Start with a swamp and an Infestation Sage, maybe? Maybe we do want the Timeline Culler. We don't have anything that we don't have any sack payoffs yet, so we don't have a reason to have the Sage out necessarily. Let's just try to get in some damage. I guess we probably depressurize, but we'll wait and do it during his turn. Unholy Annex. You will take some damage, sir. Timeline Culler. Infestation Sage. Swing 2. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. swamp. We don't have a sacrifice outlet, which is kind of frustrating. Maybe we just play the Voidborn? The Voidborn? Why do I keep saying burn? Voidborn. I'm gonna warp this out. I'm gonna warp this out. And then I'm gonna just play this one. And I'm gonna smash. Smash, smash, smash. He blocks and kills something. He takes 1 from the Voidborn. And then he's still going to take 5. Nice, very nice. Now we can hard cast the Voidborn and warp out the Timeline Culler. Rock Curse, Rakshasa. He gets to start draining again. Can't block though. Ooh, we got the land. That's good. We go to 1. We could swing for 5. This is actually terrifying. I think we gotta do this. And this. And we gotta hold back a blocker. He's probably got removal for the Voidborn, but at the very least we get to drain 1 doing that. Oh no, Bloodletter. This guy's got trample. Dash not good. I think we're just dead. I think we're just dead. Yeah. I was hoping the extra loss of life from the Bloodletter wouldn't kick in until after the triggers. But that was not the case. Let's see. Everything's super expensive. I think we have to mulligan this. This is much better. We can keep it. Put back the 0-point Ballad. Start with Infestation Sage. Actually, probably should have started with the Timeline Culler. This works, though. We'll just play the Timeline Culler. Swing. Get in for 3. Lone Fox. My Brewmaster in Chief. Well, I think we probably warp out this guy. We swing. And then we Corrupted Conviction. The color. Drain for 1. Play a land. Corrupted Conviction Sage. Drain for 1. Put him at 12. Now we have all sorts of land for all sorts of things. Makes a treasure. Well, I think we do this. And we do this. And it just keeps coming back for more. get lost the Voidborn. He still gets drained for 1 in the process, which is nice. We swing for 3, goes to 8. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. More land. Good God. I think we'll just hard cast this. Hard cast this. Swing. Trade with the Simulacrum. Hit for 1. Drain for 1. He's getting pretty low. He's getting pretty low. Day of Judgment. He's still going to take 2 and go to 4. Honestly, not too bad. Hard cast this. Play the Timeline Culler. And we'll try to use the map tokens on the Timeline Culler. Oh, and it triggers off the artifacts dying too. I forgot about that. Amazing. Amazing. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.